Race 3 of the weekend in the BRDC British F3 Championship here at Silverstone is underway, with a great start being made by Neil Verhagen, the man that starts on pole position. They dive into Copse Corner for the first time. It's a 10-lap race, and Verhagen leads the way with Clement Novalak from second on the grid, slotting in behind him as the cars now make the run up towards the Beckett's S's for the first time. We've had a win already this weekend for Novalak. We've had a win in the reverse grid race earlier on in the day for Benjamin Pedersen, and right now it is Neil Verhagen, yet to win this year, that leads the way. Sesakon Charmancol just there in the red and white car ahead of Kian Jewis as they go onto the hanger straight for the first time. So Verhagen leading, Novalak second. Third is Ayrton Simmons, who was given a time penalty in the first race for going off the road and being adjudged to have gained an advantage, and he's got Hampus Eriksson behind him as they come then down towards Stoke Corner for the first time. Manuel Maldonado goes through in 33, the orange car of the race 2 winner of the weekend, which is Benjamin Pedersen, goes out of Stoke Corner, down through Vale, into Club Corner, and Jewis there on the inside line trying to gain ground. So as the cars now sprint their way up to the completion of lap number 1, they're going to get through Abbey, and then the infield section. That is Benjamin Pedersen being forced out way wide. He gets back onto the circuit, but he will have lost ground as a consequence of all of that. And now the cars accelerate up through Abbey and Farm. Pedersen on the outside of Nazim Asman there. And the two now make the run up to the right-hand of Village, then towards the loop. Simmons is in the midst of all of that, and he's about to lose out, I think, as Hampus Eriksson tries to go right around the outside, but he's the one that comes off worst. Rattles all over the curb, bouncing his way back onto the road, but he's losing place after place after place. Eriksson had a torrid time in race 2, started late from the pits, retired a lap from home, but right now, look at the American driver, Neil Verhagen. He's getting away. Kalen Frederick, another of the Americans, diving up the inside there, trying to hang on to his place as the cars drop down towards the end of lap 1, past the BRDC clubhouse, then through Brooklands up towards Luffield, and then towards the timing line they will come. Pavan Ravashankar going through in the blue and green car as the leader, Neil Verhagen, comes through. If you want to do it the American way, it's Verhagen. His Dutch ancestry is Verhagen, but it is Neil Verhagen leading the way. 11 turns up on Clement Novalak. Ayrton Simmons is third. The spectacular Jonathan Hoggard runs fourth. Kalen Frederick fifth. Sesakon Charmancol is sixth. Hampus Eriksson seventh at the end of lap 1. From Kian Jewis, Manuel Maldonado, and 10th, Lucas Pettersson. Through the Beckett's S's they come now then for the second time. And Benjamin Pedersen is under attack, look there, because he's got Ulysse de Pauw right up behind him as they come through the Beckett's S's once more. Onto the hanger straight, the lead gap at the end of lap 1 just over a second, but Clement Novalak now bringing that margin down on this second lap of the race. So he's taken 3/10 out in the first sector alone. Clement Novalak hunting down the race leader. Now you've also got drivers in this who are on new tyres. One of them is Hampus Eriksson. Another, as they get to the end of Vale on new rubber, is Neil Verhagen, who started on pole position. Some have gone for a half set, but the crucial thing is that Verhagen is on the new tyres, and they're certainly working well. Clement Novalak is on a half new set, in other words, 2 new tyres, 2 used tyres, and 1 or 2 drivers are on a fully used set, so their chances are going to be compromised accordingly. Race leaders swoop their way up now towards the right-hander of Village. There you've got the man that won at Alton Park, Kalen Frederick, number 8, going through. Kian Jewis in the distinctive green and white livery, operated by Douglas Motorsport. Kian Jewis, the reigning F4 champion, 8th at the moment. And behind him is 33, Manuel Maldonado, who was a race winner last year. He knows these cars well. Bit of a defence being needed by Kalen Frederick. Sesakon Charmancol, who's had a number change for this weekend, to hope bringing in better fortune. Looks to the outside line, but it doesn't pay off for him there going into Brooklands. Kalen Frederick fends him off. Hampus Eriksson is 7th. Well, he's on new tyres, but he's dropped back, remember, bearing in mind where he was on the grid. So Hampus Eriksson's day, even though he's been a race winner this year, younger brother of ex-Grand Prix racer Marcus Eriksson, not going his way. Onto lap number 3 goes the race leader. The gap from 11/10 down to 8/10 now as Novalak closes on Verhagen as they go by. Simmons is 3rd, Hoggard 4th, Frederick, Charmancol, Eriksson, Jewis, the next gaggle of cars as they all come pouring through. Hampus Eriksson in the wheel tracks of a slightly crossed up Sesakon Charmancol. Fastest lap of the race was Verhagen. Novalak went even quicker last time, so the margin being reduced between the two. Onto hanger straight. There is the race leader. So Neil Verhagen on the new tyres, leading Clement Novalak, the French-Swiss driver, who races under a British licence. He's based in the UK, so he has a British licence, but he's not really a Brit by birth. There, Eriksson to the inside of Charmancol, and that's going to give him 6th place into Stoke Corner. Clement Novalak, championship leader coming into this race. Kian Jewis there, comes up to attack Charmancol. who goes back to the outside line against Ericsson. He's going to be up the curb, and as he damaged the nose of the car, well, Ericsson gets forced out wide, and Jewis gets past one and gets past two. Kian Jewis, double bubble for that, goes through on the inside line, gains 2 spots. And Kian Jewis then moves up into 6th place now. Sasakon Chaimankol stays 7th. And then 1 up, 2 down for Ericsson, who comes under immediate attack now from Maldonado, who is taking the Ronnie Peterson helmeted Lucas Pettersson with him for good company. Maldonado gets past Ericsson. Pettersson tries to get up on the inside line as well. They're absolutely wheel to wheel going through the loop. Ericsson on the outside line just hangs onto the place, but only just hangs onto the place as they come onto Wellington Straight once more. Neil Verhagen, the race leader, as there. Pettersson has to defend now from Nazim Azman, who's on the outside line, diving into the corner. To the outside line goes the Malaysian Azman. That's the inside line as they head into Luffield now. So Nazim Azman for Chris Dittman Racing on the inside line. That's Hampus Eriksson going through, and right behind him is that battle with Azman ahead of Pettersson. Behind Pettersson is Pedersen. And Verhagen goes through ahead of Novalak with the gap down, and then in 3rd place Ayrton Simmons lapping quicker than the 2 ahead of him. So the margin is tumbling between 1st and 3rd in real terms as we start lap number 4 now. Very, very wide out of Copse Corner there goes Lucas Pettersson, who just had 3 hours of GT rubber put down. Quite a bit of it has been junked to the side of the road. You see some of that offline as the cars go through the Beckett's Essex once more. So to Hanger Straight come the race leaders. Clement Novalak still staying in touch with Neil Verhagen. 4 new tyres, placed 2 new tyres in their context, and down now into the right-hander of Stoke Corner they come. Set the car up, turn right. The orange car of Benjamin Pedersen, race 2 winner earlier on in the day, thinks about finding a way past Lucas Pettersson, but to no avail. And behind the pair of them is Ulysse de Pauw, and then newcomer Nico Varroni, Pavel Ravashankar in 15th spot. Down to the end of Vale they come, another of the newcomers, Andreas Essner running at the back of the pack. Both Andreas Essner and Nico Varroni new to the championship this weekend. There is Novalak then, pressing on, and Clement Novalak, the championship leader, now twice a winner, once here in race 1, once at Alton Park in race 1, comes up through Village and now towards the loop into Aintree. The very patriotic Stars and Stripes delivering car, though, of the American driver Neil Verhagen. A little bit more ragged, maybe. They're coming out of the loop, just slides a little bit wider up onto the curve. And now they sprint once more down again towards the right-hander of Luffield. Before that, they've got the left of Brooklands. Everybody in the same base car, these Tatius-built Cosworth engine chassis. And as they come now then up towards the completion of lap 4, a slightly wider approach to the corner taken by Neil Verhagen, but he has got Clement Novalak right up behind him. Novalak that we saw on occasions in the championship last year, who also did some Formula Renault Euro Cup, but came out of the Toyota Racing Series in New Zealand. He had a great karting pedigree, and the French-Swiss driver goes over the timing line now, 0.388 of a second back. So bearing in mind that it was 11 tenths at the end of lap 1, and Verhagen's on a full new set of tyres, it's a good effort being put in this by Clement Novalak to stay in touch and to have a go for the race lead. But Ayrton Simmons, 3rd, is lapping quicker than the 2 ahead of him. He's got a bit of clear track space still, whereas Novalak's a bit stuck in the queue. Through in 4th place will be, you can see him, Jonathan Hoggard. So there you've got 4 very quick drivers indeed. Verhagen looking for a win, Simmons looking for a win. The others, double winners, Novalak and Hoggard. But they're all concertina in 1.7 seconds, covers the top 4. This is lap 5 out of 10. Jonathan Hoggard with the British Racing Drivers Club's Rising Stars badge attached proudly to the side of the car. He was a very feisty driver in race 1. Both he and Ayrton Simmons, the real movers in that fully reversed grid race. Well worth watching the pair of them. They were in independent fights, but it was Ayrton Simmons that did more overtaking, but both of them very, very impressive indeed, the way they got up through the traffic. The lead gap, though, continues to come down in the 1st sector this time. Neil Verhagen doing his best to respond, but in the 2nd sector it is down a little bit more. Clement Novalak inching up onto the back. Trouble is, he's going to get to this point where he's at certain parts of the circuit going to be compromised in the dirty airflow. Silverstone is wide and you can overtake, you can slipstream, but you can't sit there lap after lap after lap. So where does Novalak make his move? We've got driving standards flags being offered up. 1, in fact, to Verhagen, 1 to Novalak, and 1 also to de Pauw, all for track limits. Novalak quicker, uses lots of curb coming down towards Brooklands on the outside line as well there, slightly unorthodox line, but now he's applying heaps of pressure to Neil Verhagen, and he knows he's got to get on with this because 3rd and 4th are not that far behind him either as they come now out of Luffield, heading up once more towards the timing line. Through they will come, And as they break the beam, the gap last time was 0.388 of a second between the top two, and this time 0.365. So again, it's down by a gnat's crotchet. Up through Copse Corner goes the leader, Neil Verhagen. Another graduate of Formula Renault Euro Cup of the MRF Challenge. We've seen him racing in the past as well. Through the Beckett's S's, they sweep once more, lap 6. And on the limit is Verhagen. Clement Novalak chasing on behind him now, so can he get close enough to mount a serious attack before the others catch up onto the back of the French-Swiss driver? As I say, he runs Novalak under a British licence, but French-Swiss he is. Down towards Stoke Corner into the braking zone. There's Ayrton Simmons, very definitely a Brit, running in 3rd place. And in 4th is Jonathan Hoggard. Like Kian Jewis, graduate of the British F3 scene as they come to the end of Vale, but you can see the way now that Simmons is creeping up onto the back of Novalak, and in turn, so Jonathan Hoggard is staying on the back of Ayrton Simmons, the Chris Dittman racing car, 3rd for Fortec Motorsports. Hoggard in the red and white livery, just out of shot, 4th. So can Simmons get onto the tail of Novalak now? This is lap 6. Into the braking zone, Neil Verhagen still leading the way in the double R car. Anthony Boyo Hyatt's ultra-successful team ahead of Carlin, Trevor Carlin's eponymous squad that runs Clement Novalak. Chris Dittman Racing in 3rd, Fortec Motorsports, Richard Dutton's team in 4th place, all of which have got a great track record in junior single-seater racing in the UK and indeed internationally. Down towards Brooklands then, that leading quartet long gone as far as Caelan Frederick is concerned in 5th spot. In 6th, it is Kian Jewis. Simmons turns in, hustles on. But Neil Verhagen doing a good job thus far, withstanding all of the pressure being applied. Further back, Manuel Maldonado did an absolute best in a sector last time through. That's possibly thanks to a tow from Sassacon Chaimon as they came over the timing line. Into Copse, lots of curve taken on the outside line there by the leader, Neil Verhagen, trying to maximise as much of Silverstone's width as he possibly can. In 2nd place is Novalak, the gap 0.393 of a second between them. And Simmons running 3rd, Hoggard 4th, 1.4 seconds covering the top 4. And the race leader gets a 5-second penalty for track limit abuse. Neil Verhagen then, starting lap 7, gets a 5-second penalty for track limits abuse. So Verhagen, 5 seconds to be added to his time. That means that even though he's got Novalak right up behind him, all Novalak has to do is sit there and keep the traffic at bay, stay within 5 seconds of Verhagen, and the job is done. So the warnings were there. Another driving standards flag being offered up to Lucas Pettersson, but that is confirmation that Neil Verhagen will cop this penalty. Out of club, up towards the approach to Abbey they go. So Clement Novalak then, the French driver, goes through on the tail of the American Neil Verhagen. It's Brits 3rd and 4th, and where does that 5 seconds drop Verhagen to? It's going to put him into 5th place at the moment. Now, by the end of the race, the gaps might have stretched open just a little bit further, but either way, big disappointment for Verhagen. You could argue it's self-induced because it's him electing to take those lines that have led to him exceeding track limits, but the warnings were there, the penalty has been given. Hampus Eriksson on his new tyres, incidentally, has just done an absolute best 1st sector, but Eriksson is down in 9th place. He's too far back, really, to affect the result markedly, as down towards Brooklands comes effectively the leader there, Clement Novalak. He's leading on corrected times rather than on the road, but a win he will take, I'm sure. Verhagen running up front, but if the message gets through to him, he's going to be hugely disappointed. But can he at least now respond? Can he push away from Novalak? What he needs is for Novalak to be attacked by Simmons, because that would delay and distract, and it would give Verhagen the chance to try and break clear. But he's only 0.491 of a second up the road. So right now, 5th is where he is on corrected time. Neil Verhagen goes up towards the Beckett's S's once more, but Clement Novalak, again, if he knows about this penalty, will be just sitting in touch, making sure that he hangs on in there, ready to inherit the race win. Doesn't matter how you win, as long as you win. Novalak very wide though, coming onto Hanger Straight, makes the run down towards the right-hander into Stoke Corner this time. 3rd, Ayrton Simmons. He can't totally concentrate on Novalak because he's still got Jonathan Hoggard tucked up behind him as they break and turn through Stoke Corner now. So Simmons attacking and defending. Hoggard is on the attack. Now, is Novalak dropping away from Verhagen for the race lead? If it is, it's only a very slight drop in the middle sector of the lap, whereas certainly Hoggard is on the tail there, look, of Simmons. through they turn, up past the wing, over the timing line for the Grand Prix for World Endurance, and now into the right-hander. They swing through Abbey, left at Farm, and then into this infield section of circuit. Now Verhagen still to the eye, looks like he's trying to stretch the advantage. Novalak now given a 5-second penalty, and so also is 22 Lucas Pettersson as Simmons gets up the inside of Novalak. This suddenly becomes very significant for Ayrton Simmons, the top two on the road, both 5-second penalties. So then, we are on lap 8, and Novalak gets 5 seconds. He's about to lose second place on the road, is he? Simmons gets a little bit of a squeeze to the grass. He doesn't have to do this, he can just sit there. Novalak wide, sideways, coming out of Brooklands. Suddenly, with this battle, Verhagen is getting away. And can he eke out 5 seconds over Ayrton Simmons? Forget Novalak now, because he is penalised. So if Novalak continues to defend from Ayrton Simmons, that's going to really benefit Verhagen, who goes through now. So 5 seconds, still puts Verhagen back into 5th place. He needs to get on with this and try and break more of that gap away from the opposition behind him, but the top two, both with penalties. Lucas Pettersson is the other, who's got a 5-second penalty, but Novalak now, for the 9th time, comes through the Beckett's S's, heading for the Hanger Straight. It's a great shame that we have all these track limit dramas to affect race results, but unfortunately, it's a current byproduct of modern-day circuits where you have the runoff, especially Silverstone, with it being a Formula 1 circuit. You have all the runoff tarmac, not grass verges. The flip side of the coin is you have a circuit, for example, like Zandvoort, full of gravel traps, and the race can often be interrupted with the car being stuck in the gravel. So you have the runoff tarmac, but people then abuse that, and if they go too far, you get these track limit penalties. So there are time penalties being applied post-race that might be argued about, but they're applied by judges of fact. So pretty much once the penalty is there, it stays there, but at least it's not like a drive-through that you certainly can't argue about later. It can't be undone. So the leaders go up towards Village. At the back of this little group is Caelan Frederick. You'll see the blue car there, which has crept back into the mix. He's just got on with the job, chipped away, narrowed that margin. He's got up to the tail of the cars ahead of him, and he's going to gain 1, maybe 2 places, courtesy of these penalties being applied. So Verhagen leading Novalak. Novalak's got away slightly from Ayrton Simmons, but certainly Verhagen is not 5 seconds away from Ayrton Simmons in order to hang on to a race lead, to give it a race win. This is going to be the end of lap number 9. There'll be 1 to go at the end of this, as there Caelan Frederick, who could yet be on the podium, comes into Luffield. Through he turns, up now towards Woodcote Corner. He's heading towards the timing line. So let's see where 5 seconds will put Verhagen. He goes through, chased by Clement Novalak, chased by Simmons, Hoggard, Frederick. And Cian Jewis is within 5 seconds of the race leader. So Cian Jewis, 6th on the road, is going to gain 2 places, potentially, if he carries on hustling like this, courtesy of the penalties for the top 2. So Neil Verhagen pushing, under pressure, going wide. Novalak perhaps being tricked into doing exactly the same thing because he's been measuring his pace against that of the leader. They both pick up track limit warnings. They both pick up penalties. And the leading car, therefore, is going to be Ayrton Simmons, who's got Jonathan Hoggard behind him. So, Hoggard in the red and white livery of Fortec, if he makes a demon move on this, the last lap, might yet put himself into a race-winning position. That's Cian Jewis, who's also coming good. Behind him is Sasakon Chaimonko. Well, he's 5.8 seconds back from the race leader. He'll gain 1 place, won't he, at the expense of Novalak, but he might gain 2 if he can just get a little bit nearer to the tail of Cian Jewis ahead of him. We'll see where all this drops people to as they come up towards the completion of the race. This is the last lap of the final race of the weekend for the BRDC British F3 Championship. 5-second penalties for the top 2, plus the man in 17th place now, a rather troubled Lucas Pettersson. So down they come into Village. Novalak closing right up. Neil Verhagen, does he know about the penalty? He's going to be a very grumpy driver when he's told, if he doesn't know already, that's for sure. Novalak in 2nd place. Same's going to be true of him. It's going to be a real kick in the teeth for Clement Novalak, the man that came into this as the championship leader. Jonathan Hoggard, 2nd in the championship, 4th in the race. Ayrton Simmons, 3rd in the championship, 3rd in the race. Caelan Frederick, 4th in the championship, 5th on the road, but will gain 2 corners to go. Then as they come up towards Luffield, then it's Woodcote. There's Hoggard dropping back just ever so slightly on this lap from the man ahead of him, Ayrton Simmons. They're about to accelerate up towards the timing line then, and it's going to be a win on the road for Neil Verhagen, who comes across the line ahead of Clement Novalak. but the race win will go to Ayrton Simmons, his first of the year, from Jonathan Hoggard, Caelan Frederick, Cian Jewis, then it will be Verhagen, then Chimon Cole, and Novalak will be 7th provisionally. The penalties are being applied as I speak, so Neil Verhagen's penalty will put him 6th behind Cian Jewis. Novalak will go to where? He will go to 6th ahead of Chimon Cole, just. So Simmons, Hoggard, Frederick, the top 3, Jewis to 4th, Verhagen to 5th, Novalak 6th, and Chimon Cole misses out. He stays 7th ahead of Maldonado, Ericsson, and Benjamin Pedersen. So Ayrton Simmons takes the win, and as I say, if the message now gets through, he will be a very happy man. It's perhaps not the way he would like to have won a race, but he'll take it, no doubt, because that's been long overdue. And the drivers make their way down through Vale, ready to come to the pit lane, and then the celebrations can get underway. So Ayrton Simmons confirmed as the race winner from Jonathan Hoggard. The margin between them, 0.6 of a second at the end of what has been actually a very lively race, because there was something going on all the time, and as far as Neil Verhagen is concerned, he's got to try and do that all over again at a later date to score his first victory of the season. But close today, but not close enough because of the track limit situation. So Ayrton Simmons, on corrected times, takes the race win ahead of Jonathan Hoggard, and Caelan Frederick up to 3rd. 4th goes the way of Cian Jewis. In 5th place, Neil Verhagen, and then the other penalised driver, Clement Novalak, finishing in 6th. 7th goes the way of Sassakorn Chimon Cole. In 8th spot, it's Manuel Maldonado. 9th, Hampus Eriksson, and Benjamin Pedersen rounds out the top 10. After that, Nadishta Power 11th, ahead of Nazim Asman. Josh Mason 13th, Pavan Ravashankar 14th from Nico Baroni and Andreas Essner. And troubled Lucas Pettersson 17th, and Chris Wright, the last man home, in 18th spot. So there, the confirmation of the order at the end of 10 laps of racing, and Ayrton Simmons is the man who is waved to the foot of race control, and along with Jonathan Hoggard and then Caelan Frederick. I'd be a bit surprised to learn that he's booked a trip to the top of the podium, but no doubt a very happy man with a maiden victory. And the points will be very useful as far as the championship is concerned, that's for sure. So Ayrton Simmons out of the car, and suddenly the fact that he was 3rd on the road doesn't really matter. I'm the winner. He might think about the pace and why he couldn't get himself up through the top 2, but right now he's inherited a win and he's very happy about that. So the rest of the Chris Dittman Racing team, and there, Caelan Frederick finishing in 3rd spot. So Carlin gets 1 car on the podium, but Clement Novalak bumped off the podium, so too Neil Verhagen, who will be very, very frustrated, that first on-the-road win being taken away through the penalty. That's Jonathan Hoggard, as you see from his overalls, and he takes 2nd place, which is another good haul of points as far as he is concerned. But Ayrton Simmons out of the car, helmet off, balaclava off, gloves off, earplugs out, hands device off, and then he can get his breath back, and then the trip to the podium beckons. Let's have a look at how the race panned out. It was Neil Verhagen that sprinted away from pole position. He led down towards Cox with Clement Novalak tucked up behind him, and for 3rd place it was this great battle going on between Simmons and initially Hampus Eriksson, but his race rather unravelled. Eriksson in the end, despite being on new tyres, falling back into 9th place. He was busy early on, battling against Sassakorn Chimon Cole as they went through Stowe Corner. But then Eriksson got forced out wide. Chimon Cole lost out against Cian Jewis, who suddenly gained 2 places, and Jewis in the end up to 4th, courtesy of penalties for the top 2, who were given 5 seconds each for exceeding track limits at Copse Corner. So Ayrton Simmons, even though he made his move against Novalak, was still able to come through and score on corrected times, a maiden victory of the championship season. And huge disappointment for Neil Verhagen. He was the first man past the flag, but ended up with that 5-second penalty, dropping down the order. Great racing though from Silverstone, from David Addison here. Bye-bye.